Hi, I thought I'd just make a little random video about this whole MMA versus Kung Fu, traditional Eastern martial arts. I think that it's a bit of a flawed debate because what you're doing is you're comparing a sport, because MMA is a sport. Don't fool yourself, it is a sport like boxing or figure skating. Um, that is based on points, rules, regulations, and so that people don't get hurt. And let me also just say, I love to watch UFC. I think it's really fun going to the bar, having a beer, watching two guys beat the crap out of each other. It's primal and awesome. But it's still just a sport, and you're comparing it to martial arts, which are the arts of war. That's what that word actually means. And so the difference being is that in true martial arts, you're not going for points. You're not going for a challenge of a fight. The whole point is actually to avoid the conflict. If you don't have to fight, it's like Sun Tzu says, right? The best fight is the one you never have to fight. But if you do have to fight, then the goal is stop the fight as soon as you possibly can. And that means maximum amount of damage in the shortest amount of time with the least amount of risk to yourself, which is not the same as MMA. In MMA, you have all sorts of rules because you have to protect yourself. You can't, you watch original MMA, people were getting really badly hurt, right? People getting their faces stomped on where they're lying on the mat. But that's the real self-defense. That's what happens. If somebody's going to attack you, you're not looking to make him tap out. You're looking to make it so he can't fight anymore. No matter what he wants to do, he's not fighting. So you're not barring arms, you're breaking them. You're not avoiding soft tissue strikes, you're seeking them out. If your opponent is on the ground and starts to get up, that means he's still in the fight and the fight's not finished. So you don't let him get up. You stop him as soon as possible and as brutally as possible. It's also the problem with MMA is that it all takes place in a ring, which is a very contrived environment because it's like also Sun Tzu, where your enemy is strong, avoid him. When your enemy is weak, you attack. So if you have a giant 200 pound guy throwing haymakers that are going to cave your face in, being limited by a ring is retarded. It would be like choosing to get your ass kicked. So instead, you're going to avoid all you possibly can. So that might mean, not throwing a single strike for the whole time. But then when you do throw the strike, it's going to be one that's going to be as damaging as possible. So the whole idea of the ring is, once again, sorry, it's a sport, right? You couldn't put people on a football field and have them run away from each other and, look for that one personal strike because it wouldn't make good TV and it wouldn't be a good sport. And so I think that it's an interesting debate because a lot of people these days really do think of MMA as the ultimate, the combination, the culmination of all these different schools have come together and made something. And there is something truly impressive about MMA. It's the evolution of boxing, the way I see it. It's boxing taken to another level. When people watch boxing, they said, why don't you kick? Like, if I could kick him, I could take him down easy. Or, a wrestler's looking at him going, well, I could just slam him into the mat and it'd be done. And so they bring that in. But once again, they still have to regulate it because, you can't have every other night people slipping into comas because of massive head trauma. So I think everybody just needs to chill. But it does seem to me that in the real world, oh, sorry, that was one more thing. I keep hearing people saying, if you really believe Kung Fu is strong and can beat MMA, join a competition. The problem with that is that that's, like I tried to say before, that's the complete opposite of the whole philosophy. All martial arts and real self-defense is just that. It's self-defense. It's not other attack, if you want to put it that way. There is nothing in the philosophy that's about going on the attack. It's about you have been engaged, you have been forced into a conflict, and so here's how you resolve that conflict as quickly as possible, right? So that's why you see, some of these YouTube videos of these people, these kung fu grandmasters who have challenged MMA guys and got their ass kicked, right? It's because you're bringing you're bringing a knife to a gunfight, not in that you're bringing an inferior piece of or an inferior fighting style. You're bringing something that doesn't belong in that arena into that arena, and so you're never actually going to get a true competition of it because they're meant for different things. MMA, UFC is made to entertain. It's made for people who have that combative spirit and want to show it. Whereas traditional martial arts, kung fu, muay thai, any of that type of stuff is really made so that you're going to hurt somebody very badly, and it just doesn't work in the ring. So this was long-winded and meandering, and I'm sure people are going to shit on me if anybody even watches this. Okay, cheers. Enjoy it, Internet.